I'm Alice McAnulty and I'm in charge of London growth and creative operations at Lone Design Club. This is the lovely Elsa of her namesake brand, Elsa Tierney. And we're just going to talk a little bit more about her brand, find out a bit more about her story, and just get to know Elsa a bit better. So we really want to go quite in depth to the sort of past of your brand, like when you started. So do you want to just tell us a little bit when you came up with the initial idea?
So I've been making jewellery for about 10 years, but professionally about 5 years. And more recently, the new range that I'm working on. So I do wax carving, and the work that I make is produced in that way for about 2.5 years. All of the work is inspired by different artists, and sort of from personal interest. My mum was My mum's an artist, and sort of always had that around me. Yeah.
Have you always been interested in a sort of creative outlet from when you were small?
Yeah, my mum used to take me to museums, so like the V&A or the Natural History Museum were probably my favourite. Just looking through the cabinets and thinking, God, I really want that. How is that made? And then she used to sometimes get lots of electrical wires from phone companies, and I'd just sit there and make African necklaces. And I didn't know then that I wanted to be a jeweller, but I've always loved jewellery.
And do you do it all by yourself?
Yeah, so I used to make directly in metal. Now I work in wax, so everything's hand carved in wax. And then I make a mould and I cast from the mould and clean and polish everything myself. And I like the idea of not making too many pieces. So if something doesn't fit, I kind of make it to order for the person if they're interested. Yeah.
So you have no help at all?
No, I've considered maybe employing someone to help me polish if I start getting lots of orders, but yeah.
And what drew you to being involved in something like this?
So a friend of mine was doing a pop-up with LDC, and I thought I'm going to try it, because usually I wouldn't I wouldn't have invested so much, but it was really affordable and it was in central London, and I thought I'm going to try this. I really want to reach a different market and see if people are interested other than just where I live, which is in East London.
So that's where you make everything, in your studio in East London?
Yeah, so I live in Hackney area, and I have my studio in Stratford, and I rent out bench space to other jewellers as well in my studio.
Okay. And this is your 5th with us, 4th?
It's my 6th.
Oh, 6! Yeah. Amazing. So obviously we're doing something right.
Yeah. We've always done it in different areas, so I found it as a good way to just test out different areas and also kind of spread the word a little bit, and learn which area I think people are most interested in. I think central London actually has been the best for me.
So obviously one of the big focuses of Lone Design Club is sustainability, ethics, that sort of local independent brand. What does sustainability mean to you, and how do you incorporate that into your work?
Yeah, so actually working with Lone Design Club has made me really think a lot more about sustainability as well, and I really like the idea of conscious shopping and people maybe investing a little bit of money in one piece and not lots of pieces from, say, Primark that will break. All my pieces about longevity, about something you might inherit, you might wear all your life and then inherit at the end of, someone might. So when I was younger, I used to look through my aunt's jewellery box, and I really loved seeing all these. I used to call it treasure, in fact, and I kind of like the idea that might be somebody else as well.
I do the same with my grandma's.
Yeah.
This is my latest.
Oh.
This is my latest grab from her jewellery box.
Well, I used to say, a treasure, and she'd say, yeah, and I'd sit there and think, I I wonder if I stole this. Would she know it was me? It was quite clearly me, because I would have been the one looking at the jewellery. So
no, it was a fairy. So your art is inspired by, well, your work is inspired by art.
Yeah.
Artwork. Who is sort of your biggest inspiration in that?
I have lots of different inspirations. I think I've always loved bronze sculptures and kind of sort of artwork from the 1930s, so like Art Deco. One of the pieces that I've recently made, which is my Picasso ring, is made in bronze, which is kind of, bronze sculpture is actually made in the same way as jewellery might be made. It's lost wax casting, so you lose your original wax, and this one is based on the painting by Picasso of his wife Marie-Thérèse. She's sleeping, and the painting is called The Dream, and so the ring is called the Dream Ring.
Oh, beautiful. So can you talk us through, step by step, how you made that ring?
So this particular ring, I would have taken a piece of wax, a block of wax, and had a basic outline and draw that outline on the wax. And I'm just constantly removing wax, and sometimes I'll have almost finished piece, but there's so much wax still to remove, so I'm taking away. And eventually I feel like I've got a finished piece. With this particular piece, I wanted to, because my work's quite detailed, and I really wanted to incorporate some organic textures like bronze sculpture. So I used a file to create these, a kind of contrast between rough and then this really highly polished area. And when it was finished and cast in bronze, I heat treated it, so it's heated till it's glowing red, and then you let it cool and it turns black. And I then highly polish certain areas, so the inside, a little bit like when you see bronze sculptures, you know, after time they go dark, and then in certain areas where people, you know, maybe take a selfie, those areas are the parts that get polished up because people are touching it. And I like the idea that if someone's wearing it, that would continue to happen as they're wearing it, so it kind of grows with that person.
Yeah, so constantly evolving over time with that person.
Yes.
Almost like a mirror of what their life has been.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously we love your work. You're very passionate about your work. What is it, do you think, that draws the customers to it? What do you think is unique about you? What's the story that's sort of drawing them in?
So when I make jewellery, I make it for myself. I love Art Deco, always have loved Art Deco arts, and I think if I make something that I like, my customer are usually someone who has a similar interest, although sometimes they don't necessarily know all the artists, but they might think, oh, this looks like a Grecian god, or this looks like African arts, but those artists were inspired by African arts or Egyptian sculptures, and I like that, and I think that people are drawn, and also I think people are drawn to faces, and they kind of recognise themselves, you know, in something. And I think all the people that come in are drawn to different ring, basically.
So there's a real historical element to a lot of these pieces then too. Yeah. Because like you said, the art is almost like a cycle of history, art, and then this jewellery, and it could keep going on. What has been your favourite piece that you've ever made?
That's a hard one. I think, that's really difficult.
Okay, what was your favourite collection that you've ever made?
Well, this is another thing I haven't made. I decided not to make collections. Okay. I decided that each piece is individual. Okay. Because when you make collections, they have a limited time run, and they're not looking at my earlier stuff, so I was calling them classics. After a while, I decided that they're all pieces that you can continuously get, and again, that's kind of ethical or works on the conscious shopping level. But I think my favourite pieces are my Brancusi pieces. Brancusi is like my favourite artist, sculptor. He was a Romanian sculptor, and I just love his inspiration is Romanian folk art, and I love the polished bronze heads and on plinths, because everything about his work was, about that, not just the art itself, the plinth, everything was part of the sculpture. So I would say my Brancusi ring, and from there I made Brancusi bangle, and actually my double-faced Brancusi necklace, which is, every now and then there's a piece where I go, oh my god, I'm keeping that. It doesn't happen all the time, but
it's definitely a lot of love there for Brancusi.
Yeah.
So what are you working on at the moment?
So I've started making a whole new range of hand-inspired pieces. So the one you're wearing at the moment is, so they're inspired by the kind of art you see in museums, so Egyptian art or stuff that you find in buried treasure, and there's a lot of talks, and so the hand kind of element as well. Sometimes you see broken sculptures and part of the sculpture is missing or the hand is broken, so it's a little bit to do with that.
I love seeing broken sculptures.
Yeah.
I always think, where
Imagine
is
like
that
a little
piece?
crack here or something like that. Yeah.
Who took it? It's like buried somewhere. It's in another museum. And they don't know that they have missing parts of each other's.
Yeah, exactly.
And is there anything else that you feel you'd like to share with the Lone Design Club community, or your potential customers, or your existing customers?
I think, just consider what you're buying, and also if you are an artist, try make that step. Try something you haven't tried before, and with, as I say, with the customers, I would say think about what you buy and treat yourself to one piece, and then appreciate it for
one quality piece instead of 10 low quality items.
Exactly.
Well, thanks so much, Elsa.
My
Hopefully
pleasure.
that
Thank
gave
you.
everyone a bit more of an insight into your beautiful brand. Hopefully now
Thank
you've
you.
got 10 million more fans, not as well as the ones that already exist in this room. And thank you for watching.